So let's talk about this Missouri man. This Missouri man was convicted of breaking into a woman's home, repeatedly stabbing her. He was executed Tuesday over the objections of the victim's family and the lawyer who actually prosecuted the man. Now, think about what I said. Over the victim's lawyer and the man who actually prosecuted prosecuted the man. They think he is innocent. They think that the evidence against him was tainted and wrong. His name is Marcellus Williams, because they executed him. He was 55 years old, was convicted in 1998 of killing Leisha Gale, who was stabbed during the burglary of her suburban St. Louis home. Now, yesterday, again, despite the objections of the 3 liberals on the U.S. Supreme Court, the MAGA majority, this is why it's so important who's president and who gets to decide who gets to be on the Supreme Court. The MAGA majority denied him a stay of execution and sent him to death. A video that gives you some context. Here it is.
55 minutes at 6 p.m. Central Time, Marcellus Williams here is going to die, be executed for a crime he did not commit. In addition to the lack of DNA evidence, forensic evidence, the prosecutor who brought this case in the first place believes that Marcellus is innocent and that his rights were violated. The family of the victim does not want him executed. And people have been begging and imploring the state of Missouri and Governor Mike Parsons to step in, and they won't. And so today was the last-ditch effort with the United States Supreme Court. And it just came down a few minutes ago that the U.S. Supreme Court also will not step in. Of the 9 justices, the 3 that were appointed by Democratic presidents all voted to block the execution, whereas the other 6 who were appointed by Republican presidents voted for it to proceed as planned. Y'all, this is truly a miscarriage of justice. An innocent man being put to death for a crime he did not commit. Being executed for a crime where the prosecutor has admitted that he's likely innocent, and where the victim's family doesn't want him put to death. That is not justice. And it goes against everything that the American justice system is supposed to stand for. It is beyond unfair. There is nothing we can do about it. And as far as I'm concerned, the state of Missouri is committing murder.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that? Look, there are a couple things here. How do you feel about the death penalty overall? But then, how do you feel about this apparent lack of evidence and not wanting to go back and look at the evidence? And that it was all done on party lines, along party lines. Every single MAGA judge on the Supreme Court said, execute this man, even though the prosecutor, the lawyer who prosecuted him, right? Now, who would have more information than the lawyer who prosecuted him? Because that was a task of the lawyer who prosecuted him, is to find all the negative information, all of the incriminating information. And now this lawyer is saying, we don't believe that was right. We have new information. We've come to know some things since we prosecuted him. And we believe that this is wrong. And of the woman who was the victim and died in this, the family of that woman saying, this is not the guy. This is Marcellus Williams in his own words before he was executed.
Allah determines, you know what I'm saying, I'm satisfied with it. Whatever, you know, so I already been right there at that moment. And I, you know what I'm saying, there's nothing changed about it. You know, I'm still, like I said before, I don't believe in the system, the criminal justice system. I don't believe in it, you know what I'm saying, to that degree. But I know that it can be used for good as well. So if good come out of it for me and for my family and for all those that's been supporting me, then all praise be to Allah. There's a little supplication that the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, he used to say, oh Allah, if life is good for me, then give me life. If death is good for me, then give me death. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I say the same supplication. So yeah, I'm at peace, of course.
GB in the comments says, why didn't they listen to the family? GB, it's all politics. And we are 43 days away from an election, around that. And people are deciding on, who they're going to vote for based on, information. Oh, well, just, things like, well, I don't like this. I think there's some change. And then when you show them the evidence that there is change, they don't want to hear it. And then they're voting on, there's these one issue voters that are not thinking about the overall picture as it relates to the Supreme Court and having mainly conservative judges on the court. Now, if the court was balanced and even, that is not a big deal. That's you want the pull, the yin and the yang of the court. But you don't want the court to be skewed in one certain way. In a statement after the execution, one of Williams' attorneys, his name is Larry Comp, said his client maintained his innocence to the end. And this is a quote. He said, "While he would readily admit to the wrongs that he had done throughout his life, he never wavered in asserting his innocence of the crime for which he was put to death tonight," Comp said. "Although we are devastated and in disbelief over what the state has done to an innocent man, we are comforted that he left this world in peace." Now, again, I'm sorry this morning that I'm starting you and I'm giving you such sad news, but this is the state of the world. These are the topics that people are talking about. This is what you should be talking about, and this is what you should be considering as you're deciding, you're talking to people and they're saying, oh, I don't, this tax and this, that, or whatever. Nothing is more important than life. And you want someone who's going to be on the Supreme Court who supports life. So you want to talk about supporting the right to life? That's the right to life, especially if you're innocent and then you've been in jail since the late 90s, early 2000s. Wow. Moments after the High Court's decision was made, another of Williams' attorneys, Tricia Rojo Bushnell, told CNN's Jake Tapper that the state was prepared to kill an innocent man. They will do it even though the prosecutor doesn't want him to be executed. The jurors who sentenced him to death don't want him executed. The jurors who sentenced him to death don't want him executed. Let me read that again. They will do it even though the prosecutor, the person who prosecuted him, doesn't want him to be executed. The jurors who sentenced him to death don't want him to be executed. And the victims themselves don't want him to be executed. We have a system that values finality over fairness. And this is a result that we get from that. What do y'all think of that? I think it's outrageous, it's sad, it's inhumane. And if you claim to be a Christian or a believer, then this should go against everything that's within your being and your beliefs. By the way, everyone has a last meal, right? When this happens, his last meal included chicken wings and tater tots. I'm sorry that this happened to you, Mr. Williams. I'm sorry that it happened to the victim back in 1998. But rest in peace, sir. Rest in peace. And perhaps this will help people to realize that what they're doing, if they're thinking about sitting it out or they're waffling or wavering on who they should support come November, this will help them make a decision. Hopefully, this will help them make a decision. Thanks for watching The Don Lemon Show. Make sure you click on the image in the top right to subscribe to my channel and the thumbnail in the bottom right to watch more content from my show. And I'll see you next time.